Okay, so today we're going to start off by talking about preventing type 2 diabetes and being active. Does anybody know why being active can help prevent diabetes?
Just always heard it do.
Okay, so it's, that's right. But it'll help because the more active we are, you're either more likely to lose weight or be a healthy weight. And so when we are at that point where we're losing weight or at a healthy weight, then we are less likely to have diabetes. So that's the easy answer for it. And then last week you guys made action plans. How do you feel like you did with your action plans? Feel like you did good, bad?
I met mine.
Okay, good.
But I had to go back and review those often.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like review as in try to remind yourself what they were,
Yeah,
or...
go back and say, now did I do this today? And go back. Like one of mine is water.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to drink so much water. And I'd be like, oh, I got another glass to go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm putting 5 water bottles in my fridge each day
Okay.
because I've got a full-size fridge.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of gauge, and as long as I've got those 5 water bottles.
Now, are you trying to drink 5 water bottles all at school or like just throughout the day?
Well, I try to do at least 4
Okay.
at school, and then I take one with me, and usually end up doing more than that. But that's how I've gauged mine to kind of know.
Yeah, that makes it's very like there. You can see it. So.
And then one of my big goals was to make sure I'm tracking my calories with fidelity, and I'd say this last week I was probably at 90% of absolutely getting everything into the
That's awesome.
program.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's the one I actually reached, and I feel like it's working well. One of them was to bike or walk, and I wasn't able to bike or walk, but I was able to be active
Mm-hmm.
for several minutes. It was not as regular as I wanted.
I was to say, put those 2 kids out in the yard, and there's your activity.
Well, as you said, one of them isn't self-mobile.
So that makes it a little harder.
She is, but she doesn't walk on her feet. She walks on her knees, and that's not fun to do in a front yard.
Mm-mm. You've got a trampoline in your next door neighbor's yard, though.
Yeah,
Just go.
You don't do that.
Nope.
Babies don't go on the trampoline.
But, okay, well, that's good to hear that you guys were able to reach those goals. And if there were any that you didn't feel like you were able to reach, maybe look in and trying to figure out what you can do or what needs to be changed to help you to maybe get there this week. Or you might realize that this may be an unrealistic goal to set for you, and so maybe changing it to figure out something that might be more realistic. Oh, sorry. I probably should have introduced myself. I've been talking to you guys already, though, so I didn't. I'm Katie. I'm the other dietitian. There's 3 of us, so we're 2 of the dietitians at the health department. I got involved in DPP because they asked me to help with it's one of the things that we do, diabetes classes, but so they also wanted us to do the prevention classes. But I think this is going to be a lot more fun because we get to come and be active, and just the accountability aspect of it is really great. So that'll be fun. And then we have a point system. I think Chelsea talked to y'all about points last time. Okay, so every time you come, you get a point. When you bring either your MyFitnessPal or your paper, so you guys all get a point for that as well. Now, if they don't come, but they're able to like show us so if you aren't able to come one week and so you watch the recorded video, if you just want to send us maybe a picture, like do a screenshot on your phone and email that to us, that counts.
Our book, that's what the screenshot you're wanting of.
Or like on MyFitnessPal, if you just send us like a day's worth of recording of what you've written down to prove like, hey, look, I've been writing everything down still, and just email that to us, you can do that. Or at the next meeting, if you show us that you did it the week before, that's fine too. Is there anything else point-wise that we need to go over?
Okay, cool. So did any of you participate in like a midweek activity like we had talked about last week? Anybody do some exercising or sharing healthy meals or
I've been out walking
walking?
between 9 and 10 each night.
Good.
And then my son go through a cookbook for healthy heart. Does that count?
Well, did y'all prepare any of the recipes?
We have picked one out for this week.
Picked one out for this week, so you can definitely make it this week, and that can
Canadian
count.
chicken etouffee.
Ooh.
That's the third time this word has come up today, and I had no idea what this word was.
Yes, this morning she did not know it. Now she has heard it 3 times. So just remember that starting next week, I believe we'll be tracking physical activity minutes. It might not be till week 3, which would be next week. We'll start tracking your physical activity minutes, so be sure that you are recording those. And then your midweek activities, that's when we'll start tracking points for that as well, okay? All right. So, like Katie has mentioned today, we're going to be kind of talking about being active, getting active, and how that helps prevent type 2 diabetes. So we're going to talk about benefits of activity and ways that you can become more active. So let's start by talking about how getting active can lower our risk of type 2 diabetes. So one way it does that is by it helps you lose weight, and the more active you are, the more calories you burn. So do you guys know what calories are? I think we all know those all too well. But calories are just a measure of energy, and we get that from the food and drinks that we consume. So ways that we can lower our weight, reducing our calories, being more active, burning more calories off, those types of things are going to be very important. So can you guys name any benefits of physical activity? Makes you feel better. What else?
If she meant makes you feel better physically, it's also, cathartic as far as emotionally and
Right.
psychologically.
Right. Helps with stress. Helps give you more energy. What are some other things that are beneficial from physical activity?
Blood pressure.
Helps your blood pressure. Helps cholesterol. Helps lower our risk of heart attack and stroke. Helps gives us stronger muscles so that we're all like Popeye. It helps improve our balance and our flexibility. And it helps us to have better sleep patterns and better moods just in general because, like you said, it releases those good endorphins. Endorphins? Yeah. They give us those good feelings and helps our mood to get better. So there's lots of great ways that we can become active. And it's best if we can find one or 2 or 3 ways that we enjoy being active. So what are some ways that you guys can think of to get active, besides things that we've already talked about, like walking, bike riding, those types of things? Hiking. Hiking in Gatlinburg. That's a good one.
Very specific to me. I know in the next couple of weeks, I have several trainings for the fire department.
Yeah.
And as you can guess, being firefighter training, it's pretty physical.
Yeah.
So I think that very specific to me, that's one that I'll be looking forward to.
Yeah.
Is just doing training.
Definitely. Yeah. What are some other things that we can do?
Lazy monster with your kids.
Lazy monster with your kids. It's perfect.
Aerobics, Pilates.
Yeah, aerobics, Pilates, doing our yard work, as long as we're doing it vigorously or briskly, those types of things count. Jumping rope, lifting weights, playing sports like soccer, basketball, football, things like that. Stretching, swimming, we can use those resistance bands if we have a hard time, if we have bad knees or we have a bad back or things like that. We can use those resistance bands to help us get physically active throughout the day. That'll hopefully help strengthen those places that are weak or not doing so well, so that we can start doing more like walking and things like that. So as you know, in this program, our goal is to be at least at a moderate pace activity level or more, okay? So what's a good way to know that we're being active at a moderate pace? What's a good way that we can tell without having to, you know, ask the doctor or ask somebody else, is this a moderate physical activity? The treadmill tells you. What if we have a treadmill that doesn't tell us so? What's a good way that we can know whether or not we are being active enough? Your heart rate. That's right. Another thing that you can do is the talk test, okay? So that means that you can talk while you're doing that activity, but you can't sing while you're doing that activity, okay? So we're going to do the talk test right now. So I want everybody to get up. So I want you to kind of see how you're doing right now. Breathing well. Feeling pretty good. Okay, so then we're going to march in place. If you need to, you can modify it by sitting in the chair and march in place as well, okay? So let's march in place. So Katie, how's it going today?
It's great.
Great?
Will you sing me too?
Let's see. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. So do you think I'm doing it fast enough?
Nope.
Okay, so let's pick up the pace. Hey Katie, how's it going?
It's good.
Good?
Yeah.
Hey Katie, could you sing me a song?
Okay. I want a hippopotamus for Christmas.
Katie's not going fast enough. Okay, Robert, can you sing us a song?
No.
No? All right. So Robert is definitely going fast enough. All right. So we can see how out of breath that we're getting. And that's a good way that we can kind of judge how active we are being. Robert's over here going, I might be dying right now.
Or he just doesn't feel like he's confident in his tune hearing ability.
That could be it as well.
Well, I was sitting there trying to do You Are My Sunshine. I'm like, nope. not
Nope,
yet.
can't do it, can't do it. So when we're doing our physical activities, we want to make sure that we are getting our heart rate up because that's when we're burning the most calories. You know, if we're just going, yeah, I'm walking in place, burning some calories. Look, it's counting steps on my step tracker. I'm doing pretty good, right? Doesn't necessarily mean that we're making the most out of our physical activity, okay? So we want to make sure that we are doing our activities at a big enough pace that we are burning those calories and that we are being active. Whew, made the pregnant woman get out of breath. All right, so now I want you guys to take a few minutes. We gave you new action logs at the beginning. I don't know where y'all put them. Hopefully with your action logs. Should be under tab 2.
Robert got one. Other.
I gave him one.
Gotta sit up. Yeah, we're good.
Get a new one?
Yeah.
So y'all take just a few minutes and write your action plan for this week.
Hey, Robert, I'm still in yours for the writing stuff down.
Say what?
Did you get one?
I
For writing
did.
everything down.
I was
not
just
diligent with that
noticing
last night.
something else. You know what?
Yeah.
I had the other weight. I have it on this sheet. So maybe,
Maybe
So
you
if
had
you
lost
wanna-
you.
I guess go back and switch that to what she had it.
Okay. She thought her weight was
I
different.
can tell you, I do
Oh,
the same thing.
we'll change it in here.
Look,
And
keep up
apparently
with the
I
scale.
wrote it down wrong then on this sheet.
chart.
Okay.
Okay.
Don't lose one.
It was 0.4. That was consistent.
Okay.
But apparently I because on this sheet, I wrote it down on this as soon as I weighed, and then went back to this sheet, so.
Well, we can mark things out. That's all.
That's right.
I'm still
you
excited,
move
I'm
this?
No, it's
still
good.
pleased.
Well, it was. Okay, so as you're writing your action plans, don't forget that you want to make your plan something that is realistic, something that is doable. You want to be as specific as possible, and you want to be flexible because, you know, what if your plan is to walk outside and it's going to be cold this week? Like getting down in the 30s, so it's too cold to walk at 9 and 10 o'clock at night.
But we can keep the same.
You can keep the same goal. But if you found that the action plan that you wrote for last week didn't work towards meeting that goal, maybe you need to come up with something else. Remember, we want to try and focus on those behaviors, but we still want to have fun while we're doing it. We'll take just a couple more minutes. And if you don't get it finished filling out right now, then you can finish filling it out afterwards. Are y'all good for us to move on? All right. So, in your books today, in your lessons, would you like for you guys to turn over to page 3? So, before next week, I'd like for you guys to take a look at Theo's story. It's on page 3. So y'all read over it. And then also looking at, well, you'll look over this and then we're going to go over page 4 real quick, okay? So be sure and look over page 3 for next week. So these, page 4 is on ways to get active, okay? So like it's talking about, there's many ways that we can be active. We just have to find one that we enjoy, okay? So if walking is not something that we enjoy doing, or if it's something that it's hard for us to do, should we pick walking? No, probably not. Would it be realistic for me to say, I'm going to start kickboxing? Not right now, no. Maybe after baby gets here, right? But not right now. So we do want to make sure that they are things that we can do and things that we enjoy. So these are just some ideas of things that you can do. So if you're a big reader, after you read a few pages of your book, get up and move a little bit. Maybe you turn on some music and dance around the room. Maybe you get up during commercial breaks while you're watching your favorite TV show at night and make a lap around the living room. Second one, dance to your favorite music. You know, maybe it's in the morning while you're getting ready, you put your music on while you're drying your hair and you just do a little dance while you're getting ready. It's a good way to be active, but you're getting your hair dried at the same time. Pace the sidelines at your children's or grandchildren's sports events. So instead of just sitting on the bleachers while we're watching everybody, make sure we're walking back and forth.
Or if you have to take them to practice or you're taking them to the game, a lot of times they have to be there early. So walking instead of sitting there waiting for them to warm up and waiting for them to play.
Yeah.
I did used to pace the sidelines and my kids don't sit.
You're making them nervous. That's funny. Playing actively with your children or pets for at least 15 to 30 minutes a day. You know, having the kiddos, taking them out in the yard or taking them in the house and doing something fun with them. Maybe you're the dinosaur and they get to ride the dinosaurs back. Or maybe you're going outside and playing fetch with your dog, you know, doing things like that. And it doesn't have to be for a long period of time, but we do want to make sure that we are being up and being active. And you can break it up. You don't have to do 30 minutes all at once. Maybe you go out 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the afternoon, and 10 minutes, you know, after supper. You know, doing things like that so that we are staying active. Replace our Sunday drives with Sunday walks. So instead of going out and looking for deer or things like that, we go out and walk down the road or go to the park and walk instead. Run or walk fast when you're doing your errands. So when we go to the grocery store, maybe we park further away and we walk fast to get into the building. We walk fast around the grocery store so we can get out as fast as we possibly can because nobody likes going to the grocery store, right? Start a new active hobby. So maybe it's something that you haven't tried before, but you've always been interested in trying it, like biking or hiking, swimming, doing things like that. Take a walk after dinner with your family or by yourself. You know, it's a great time to have family time, but it's also a great time if, you know, you've been at school all day and you've been with 100 kids all day and you just need a little me time. You know, it's a great time to kind of take a little break, unwind, do those types of things. Track your steps with a pedometer. How many of you guys have pedometers? Yep. Got it on your phone? Yep. So trying to make sure that we're working up to at least 10,000 steps or more a day. So what is your all's goals as far as your steps? Do you guys try to get 10,000? Do you do less than that, more than that?
My benchmark used to be 7,000, but I just happened to look at mine and I'm at 9371 today. So
Look
I
at
think
you.
10 would be-
Yeah. You could easily get 10,000 steps in. Is yours 10,000 steps as well? What's yours?
I don't do mine anymore.
Oh, okay. Well, it might be something that you could get out and start tracking yours again.
But
What you're up walking around, you walk in here, you walk around your house, you know, tracking your steps for what you actually get on a daily basis. So,
it would be interesting to see.
yeah. And, you know, it might be something that you find like, I know my foot hurts. I know how far I can push myself, but I also know that I can also get 10,000 steps in a day just by doing things that I'm normally doing. So, be something worth looking into. So whenever we're talking on the phone, sis, how many of us talk on the phone when we get home? Not many. It's probably something that we used to do more so than when we had our texting and all that kind of stuff. But doing things like when we get home. So if it is something like watching TV or doing the dishes or things like that, making sure that maybe we are walking in place or that we are, you know, getting up and moving during those commercial breaks. Taking the stairs instead of the elevator or the escalators. What are some other ways that you guys can think of besides these that would be more realistic for you guys and what's happening in your lives to be active? Chasing after grandkids, that's a good one. That's a good one.
I do that with the dogs. So.
Yeah, chasing after the dogs.
As far as just getting more active, I know toward the end of the day, I find my stool a lot more often than I do in the mornings when I'm standing and kind of walking around class. So just continue walking into class.
Right.
Not try to settle back into the stool.
Right. That would be a great way to get in more steps. All right. So while we're being active, it is very important that we are staying safe while we're being active. So on page 5, it kind of talks about, are you ready to get active? So let's just take a minute. I'm going to read through these and check off if one or more items, if there are one or more items, you want to talk with your healthcare provider before you start physical activity routine, okay? So thinking about these things, if you have a check mark beside one or more of them, you might want to check with your doctor before you start some type of vigorous or moderately paced physical activity, okay? So I'm over 50 and I haven't been active in a long time. I'm planning to be very active. I'm pregnant and my healthcare provider hasn't given me the okay to get active. I get very out of breath when I'm even slightly active. I have a health problem or other issue not listed here that might need attention if I get active. I have a heart problem. My healthcare provider wants to keep an eye on my activity. I have bone or joint problems that make it hard for me to do things like fast walking. I have chest pain that started within the last month. I tend to pass out or fall down when I get dizzy. During or right after a workout, I often have pain or pressure in my neck, left shoulder, or arm. And my healthcare provider wants me to take a medicine for high blood pressure or a heart problem. So if you checked yes to one or more of those things, you might want to check with your doctor before starting a physical activity routine, okay? So give them a call this week. Say, hey, I've joined this class. We're going to be doing some physical activity while we're in it. Will these types of things be okay for me to do? Okay? We want you guys to stay as safe as possible during our class. We don't want anybody to get injured or have any other health problems, okay? And then also on page 6 for next week when you're reading Theo's story, also read being active and being safe. We also want you to stay as safe as you possibly can while you are being active, okay? So just go ahead and take a look at that before you come to class next week, okay? All right, so it can be challenging to become active. You know, that's something that we do realize. It's something that is a challenge for a lot of people, is just taking that initiative to go ahead and get started and be active. So on pages 7 and 9, it goes over ways to cope with challenges. So we'll take a look at those right now. And before our next session, I want you guys, there's a place on the side that says other ways to cope. So we'll kind of go through a few of these, and before next week, I want you guys to go through it and write down ways that you cope with these types of problems, okay? So ways that would work for you and for your lifestyle. Because some of these are kind of funny, and we were reading through them today, and we realized that they don't necessarily apply to our lives here in South Central Kentucky. So what are some things that we can do to cope with those, okay? So some of the challenges are it's too hot, it's too cold, or too wet outside. I don't have time. I don't have childcare. I don't have a car. I feel embarrassed. My area is not safe. It costs too much. It's boring. It's painful or tiring. It messes my hair up. So look through these. We know Robert has a real big problem with that one. Look through these and see if these would have some good ways for you to cope with some of the problems like these that we might have. But also write down some ways that you could cope with it if none of these helps or ways to cope with it are something that's relatable to you. So just jot down a few ideas like that before we come next week.
And one of the things I was just thinking about when Robert was talking about just being more active during the day, I don't know how realistic this is. I know you guys have like core content you have to get through. But one of the things I started thinking about is just the importance of getting our kids active as well. And so just thinking about maybe the first 2 minutes of class, I have a friend that teaches elementary school. And so she lets her kids get all their wiggles out. She teaches kindergarten or first grade. You're not going to do that with like middle schoolers. But the idea of still, just imagine if you have 5 classes that you teach every day and you spend the first 2 minutes of class doing something active, you've gotten 10 minutes of your physical activity in for the day. And you gave them 2 minutes to get their wiggles out.
I used to do a thing called desk-ercise with all of my kids until I started getting calls and complaints. And
But they were being too
3
loud?
minutes. It was 3 minutes. No, from parents that I
Oh.
was making their kids stand up and walk in place because they were embarrassed or their knee hurt or and it just got to be more of a headache than the fun of it.
Yeah, and maybe it's something that
And it
you
was just like,
make it optional. I don't know. At that point, then I feel like
Yeah,
it is.
but only about a
Third of them will do it if it's optional. Yeah.
I had block scheduling where I was at for a while, and I had a resource room. There was an attend of kids, we had to have breaks,
it was like it was 3 minutes.
and I got some of those calls as well.
But isn't that incredible that 3 minutes and they're like, I can't do 3 minutes of activity. It makes me hurt.
And I mean, it was walking in place, it was raising our arms, just really basic, simple. I
Yeah.
would have them do squats with their chairs.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Well, I just thought that might be something too that, I don't know, I know as a middle schooler I couldn't sit still, so that would have probably.
Katie always had the wiggles.
Why you say that past tense?
This is a good question,
Katie
Robert.
Still has the wiggles.
Yeah. All right. So, what are some things that you guys find challenging about getting active?
I think time's the biggest.
Time. I think that's the biggest thing for a lot of people is just trying to find ways to fit in that extra time to do our physical activity in a day. And that's when we can start incorporating things like parking further away, taking the stairs instead of the elevator, zooming through the grocery store instead of, walking slowly and backing traffic up.
Or when you are doing things
Especially
with
when
your.
you have the click list people.
Right.
Yes.
Yep.
Or when you do have your grandkids or your kids with you,
Yeah.
being intentional to try to think of games and be creative with them. Let them set, maybe it's seeing how quickly you can get from point A to point B.
Mm-hmm.
Make it a competition or make it super fun.
Yeah. All right. So now I'm going to pass the torch on to Katie. Katie's going to do our physical activity for the day.
Welcome, you came for the fun part. The physical activity.
I've been running around. I know y'all seen me back and forth.
Oh, you were perfectly fine. We're glad you're here.
Extra responsibilities.
We understand that. Okay, so today for our activity, this was our little fun basket full of fun, or basket full of exercises. I'm going to be, whatever you draw, I'll tell you how many repetitions we're going to do. I'm going to be doing the regular one, and Chelsea's going to do everything modified. She got lucky today, and I came, so she gets to do the easier. Well, not easier, but the modified ones. So who wants to go first and pick our first exercise out of the basket of fun?
Since I just came in. I'm not shy.
Okay, what are we doing first?
Arm circles.
Arm circles. Okay, so we'll do 15 arm circles each direction. So if you want to stand up, you can. 15 might have been a high number. 12, 13, 14, 15. Other direction. You better hope I can count. Sometimes higher than 10 and I get distracted. Or actually about 7 is my distraction point. Okay.
Knee raises.
Knee raises. Okay. Let's do 10 with each leg. And you'll see, just pull them up as high as you can.
We got the air on, right? I think I'm already.
Already?
I'm already running back and forth.
That's all right. And 10. Okay. Let's see. Squats. Okay, let's do 10. Okay, so make sure when you do these though, and when you squat down, your knees don't go in front of your toes. So you kind of want your legs shoulder width apart. Yep, and you'll kind of sit on your heels like you're sitting on a chair. Okay. So do 1. I went hiking last week, and I have never felt my hips be so sore in my entire life. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, feel it.
Jumping jacks.
Jumping jacks. So you guys can just go wide. And okay, let's do 15 jumping jacks. Okay, who's next? We're going again. Pick something better also called them like butt kicks. So you're going to stand and you're going to roll them up and try to see if you can kick your bottom with your legs. I'm trying to think of something else. You got something? Oh, yeah.
My chair wasn't so wide.
That's right. Do 10 with each leg. And if you can pump your arms to whenever you can also do it under the seat. And if you ever feel really adventurous and you want to do hamstring curls, you can do them like on the run and try to kick your bottom. But that's when you're feeling really feisty for the
Also, if you're doing the modified things, you'll want to sit more on the edge of your seat. So don't make sure that you're not like leaning against it, because when we're sitting on the edge of our seat, we're holding our core up. And so that's what we're working as well when we're doing those types of exercises, okay?
Okay.
Lunges.
Okay. We'll do, how do you, 5 with each leg.